trust. Cyber 1 civil target dispatch 4 Bravo 65. 20 low. Everyone.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome. How's everybody doing today? Hello, Angela. How are you doing?
Doing great. It just fresh off of another psychic fair this past Sunday in Canton, Ohio.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's nice.
It was
nice.
quite interesting. It was quite extraordinary. So as extraordinary as usual, the Canton at these psychic fairs, and I'm sitting there doing readings and listening to spirits and validating everybody. And a woman came to me and she validated the last time she sat with me. Last time I did a reading for her, last time I told her that she was going to be involved in animal rights, some sort of animal rights activist activities, and that she was going to be working on a book regarding animals and her connection with animals. And she said that she got contacted by somebody, the Department of Wildlife, and they asked her to go ahead and write and make a presentation for the conservation, for the protection and conservation of animals in their state. So she didn't expect that. She said it was just like out of the blue, like somebody called her and told her that she was going to be doing this, that she was going to be educating people on wildlife conservation, and that was very exciting. It was a very exciting validation.
That's interesting. So, if people are wanting to know what that Facebook group is a group that I designed and started a couple years ago on Mary's birthday. It's called Church of Divine Grace and Divinity. So check it out. Make sure you subscribe and join it. It's got a lot of spiritual stuff out there. And if you got a prayer request, put it out there. We got it. So, yeah, interesting. Angela, so you've been busy again.
I've been busy. And, I finished that painting. And, of course, maybe hard to see here, but I finished the painting. And,
oh, wow.
Here at the top, we've got the details of it's cathedral-like. You got a cover here on the top. Back in World War II, they actually, in Italy, there was a church. They actually had to go out and cover up the statue of the Virgin Mary because it was a bronze or copper, and they didn't want the shine to attract bombing, so they covered it up all the time. And of course, you've got the remnants of the front gate of the concentration camp. You got flames, and of course, there's me in my past life, Frank Koff. So,
wow.
It's quite big. And it also occurred to me, too, I remember last time, we were talking before the election. Of course, I talked about looks like Trump was going to win well before that election took place. And then again on the night before. But then I also remember telling there would be I saw these explosions, like these little outbreaks everywhere. And we're seeing that with the Tesla attacks, right? The attacks on Tesla dealerships.
Right. Yeah, you sure did, didn't you? You called that one out.
Yes, absolutely. And, I would like to have more positive, something more positive. We want to predict something good. And then you see stuff like that, but you have to share it. And it's just validation. Calling that for those maps of violence. I saw violence primarily with it looked like explosions everywhere. And here's people are throwing Molotov cocktails at Teslas and Tesla dealerships, and yeah. So again, calling again, just following the intuition, just following what spirit is showing me. What
Right.
exactly what I've been shown, and of course I brought my runes today, and I
All
got
right.
this little thing at the yesterday at the fair. One from the other vendors. One of the other vendors actually helped me. My back was hurting so bad, and there's a vendor that does Reiki, but she does a type of acupressure for your spine, and it's like your spinal alignment for your like your spinal fluid. And I could hardly move when I got there because the day before I had a CrossFit, exercised intensely, moved a lot of mulch, and then had to load a couple tanks full of water, and then load the car up for the psychic fair. So I was doing a lot of lifting, and she did that acupressure, and with the alignment of the spine, and it just took away all the pain. It felt like tremendous heat was flowing through me because she was using Reiki at the same time. But afterwards, I actually had flexibility again, and I could move, and I was pain free. It was wonderful.
Yeah. See, I don't know what I'll do without Mary during our events because she helps out tremendously with all the lifting, and yeah, it's a blessing. That's for sure.
I got another event coming up, the Old Paulding Jail, which I'll be doing readings there. So Old Paulding Jail is in Paulding, Ohio. It's right in the border of Ohio and Indiana. And I believe that is going to be in April. So that is April 26th and 27th. So it's a 2-day event. And it's a very haunted location, this particular haunted jail. They actually, the last time I went, they caught on video an apparition of a woman and a little boy going through the basement area.
Oh wow.
And that was 10 minutes after I walked in the door.
Wow.
And
Which town
he
again?
says Paulding. So it's just spelled like Paul, only with D-I-N-G. So Paulding.
Okay.
Paulding, Ohio. Paulding, Ohio. And of
And
course,
as she's talking, if y'all want a reading, throw your name in the bucket so I can start
yeah.
putting it in line. So yeah, that's interesting. It really is.
It's there's plus Shelley, who runs that jail now, she plants all sorts of garden variety plants out there. She's got all sorts of flowers. She has, last time I went there, she had some sort of look like leeks or gourds or something she had growing there, and those are blooming. And she had a lot of gourds right on the sidewalk of the jail, so they were all growing right there. All the vines are producing fruit right there, and just beautiful flowers as well. And she cooks for us, and we do have a very great time because I usually stay in the cells. Last time I stayed in the cells, and I got Shelley really good because she was bringing another vendor in to sleep in one of the cells, and I was in the cells on the top floors, I guess, where they kept the worst of the prisoners. And I was covered in a black blanket. I had black clothes on. It was cold. I was completely on my head, and she was just going to grab another blanket for him, and she went to grab, and I grabbed her arm from underneath, and it's totally black in there. All the windows are black out, so it's just a black room, blacked out place with a black blanket in. So I'm like invisible. And she used to grab the blanket, and I just grabbed her arm and scared her, like startled her. And I'm like, I got you. She got me too. I didn't expect somebody coming and grabbing me. Grab the blankets off me in the night.
Yeah, that's funny. Unbelievable. All right. Chris is up. There was a significance to my bathroom clock stopping about 4:35 Saturday and then restarting by itself at the time I got home from work. So what is this message, please and thank you?
Okay. Let's see what the runes have to say about that. The clock stop. And of course, it had the clock stop. It usually is sometimes it is a really strong message from spirit. Okay. So the first rune I got is, this is Ewaz. So Ewaz is the one of journey, of traveling. Um, it feels like I'm getting a message about something being, a journey being interrupted or stopped. Okay. Next rune I got is Yara, which is harvest. Okay. And that's usually, but it can also be a cycle. And then the next rune I got is Thorasos, which is be careful, danger, look out. It feels like to me that this person is trying to warn you. Having your clock stop, like pay attention. It's like pay attention, pay attention. Um, it's the message I'm getting. It feels like it's a male that's reaching out to you. It feels like a male spirit. Okay. He wants your attention. He feels like I feel like he's trying to warn you. I feel like he's trying to warn you, and it feels like it's maybe, okay, something that stopped. It feels like it's maybe health related or some sort of event that he anticipates happening to you that you're going to have to deal with, and he wants to warn you about it. Is this the same warning from 2 weeks ago? Let's ask. See if I get a yes or a no, because we have yes or no for runes as well. I'm getting a yes. This is Uruz, so yes.
Interesting.
Say, be careful, be careful.
All right, Jackie's out. She'd like a reading.
Okay. Jackie. Jackie Barnes. Okay. Jackie Barnes. Let me get my Reiki going here. I like to have Reiki going before I do these rune draws. Okay, so first rune I got for Jackie, this is Feiyu. So Feiyu is the rune of money. It's a rune of disposable income, like having money to spend. And I'm just getting the impression like you've been concerned about it. But the rune is telling me it's okay. It's okay. It's like it's okay. Like things are going to be okay. You don't have to be so worried about it. The next rune I got is Burkana. So Burkana's prosperity. It's very feminine, but it's also protection. And one I have fear. It's like I feel like you're coming off of something that you've had some nervousness or anxiety, and this rune is telling me again, you've got protection there. You're okay. You're going to be all right. Don't worry about it. Everything is going to work out. It's like this continuous reassurance that I'm hearing from this. And the next rune I have here is Tiwaz. So Tiwaz is victory. It's promise. It's an oath. It's also points north. And I get this sense here of victory, that things are going to be all right. It's not as bad as you think is it going to be. Things are going to turn out right for you. You're going to feel relief. I feel like a sensation of relief, like, wow, that turned out great and that wasn't so bad. Like you're looking, like you come to a point when you look back on that, well, that wasn't so bad. That's over with. Now I can relax.
Interesting. All right, next up is Kathy.
Kathy, okay. Okay, Kathy. First rune I pull out for you, this is Tiwaz, which is promise, oath, and this is also pointing north. I'm getting a sense of honor, like a warrior standing. And the sense of honor, like standing in your honor and determining to stand your ground, is the image I'm getting. Like standing your ground, like I'm not going to back down. It's like I see you as this. Like I see you standing there, like as a warrior asserting yourself. Like I'm not backing down. The next rune I got is Wunyo. So Wunyo is peace, joy, fresh start, new beginnings, happy endings. And I get that it feels like you're setting boundaries so you can have the happiness that you're trying to build for yourself. And this works. This rune is telling me that you're doing the right thing. When you set that really strong boundary to no, no, I don't have to do this for you. No, I'm not going to do this for you. I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to stand up for myself. It actually works out much better for you. And the runes are saying that this is a very good decision. The next rune I got, this is Feiyu. So Feiyu is money. I'm just seeing you having a little bit of fun. So when you feel like you've like arrived at a place where you feel like you're really secure in your boundaries, you built this life for yourself, and you can have a little bit of fun. You can go ahead and spend a little, live a little.
Interesting. Next up, Dow Dow.
Down. Okay. Okay, so down. So the first rune I got for you, this is Rytho. So Rytho is a journey with honor. It's, sticking by your guns, determined to stay on the right path. But it's also the sun. So this is Odin's chariot wheels. He's riding his chariot, riding the sun across the sky. I'm getting the impression here. I heard Journey of the Sun here, like Journey of the Sun. So it feels like you're always heading towards the light. Like you're on the path of light, on the path of honor, the path of light, and that's what you're determined to stay with. The next rune I got is Land Goose. So Land Goose is the rune of growth. It's flow. It's also water. It's also could represent the leek, which is a vegetable that a lot of the Viking peoples grew and raised. So I'm getting the impression of, again, I'm being told journey, but I'm being told journey over water. I'm being told journey over water, and I'm seeing water. It feels like there's actually a journey coming up for you, like a trip coming up that actually involves traveling over water. And then the next rune I got here, this is Thorasos. This means caution, but this also means boundaries. And the rune is telling me is that you need to set good boundaries so you don't have interference, anything stopping you from this trip. And it feels like there will be a lot of people trying to take your time away and try to and ultimately interfere with what you're trying to achieve. But the runes are saying set really strong boundaries so they don't interfere with it. So you have that. It feels like you need to set up a time where you have me time, right? Like days off where you're not hearing from anybody, and they don't bother me from this time to this time, well in advance of your trip. And don't bother me till I get back. So the runes are saying set those really strong boundaries because it feels like, I guess I'm seeing water, but I'm seeing water reflected sunlight, but it's more like this yellow, orange, gold color range of colors of the sunset that's being reflected in the water that I see.
Interesting. Next up, Sky Blessings.
Hey, sky blessings. Hey, sky blessings. The first rune I got is Feiyu. Usually this means money, but for some reason I'm getting lucid dreams for you. Like communication dreams, like more real than real dreams for you. Next rune I have is Urus. So Urus is the rune of strength, resiliency. This represents iron. This is also can represent healing. This rune is telling me that you're experiencing healing, and then the dreams, the vivid dreams, are part of that healing process. It's something that that's necessary as part of the healing process. Okay, the next rune I have here, this is land goose. So land goose is flow, growth, leap. But I'm getting healing off of this. I'm feeling healing. So I feel like you're experiencing healing, you're going through healing, and it's going to be completed. But it's the runes are telling me to, for some reason, pay attention to your dreams, and particularly lucid dreams when they're more and more vivid, because it calls attention to your healing, and it's part of the healing process that needs to happen.
All right. Up next is a little twisted. She'd like to have the health one, please.
Health rating. Okay. Okay, so the first rune I got is Manas, which is wisdom, intellect, but it's also the Bifrost Bridge, the rainbow bridge that connects the spirit world and the material world. What I'm getting off of this is that I see counselors like coming across that bridge for you from that other side. So the rune is giving me the image of like there are helpers, there are people trying to help you from the other side, and they're crossing that bridge, and they specialize in health. So you can ask them to go ahead and assist you. So you can ask the angels that specialize in healthcare to come over that bridge and give them permission to help you and guide you and be there for you. The next rune I got is Feyu. So Feyu is money. It's represented by a cow. What I'm getting on here is that you start to feel well enough that you're actually doing some things. You feel well enough that you can actually have a little bit of fun. I don't see like a whole lot of activity. It's more like it's restrained. It's not like you're trying to avoid overtaxing yourself, but you are able to go out a little bit, enjoy things a little bit, spend a little money for yourself, and go out a little bit. Is what the runes are saying like you recover enough to do that. The next rune I got, this is Nadis. So Nadis represents the need fire. This is the fire you light in the emergency. These are two sticks being rubbed together in the woods. What I'm getting on that is to focus on just you and your basic needs, and not let yourself be distracted by anybody else that tries to pull you into their circle to help them or take time away from yourself. That you need time to heal, that you need time for yourself, and you need that rest.
Absolutely. Next up is Wendell, Bigfoot 911.
Bigfoot 911. Wow. That is a pretty amazing name. I like that name, Bigfoot 911.
Right.
Yes. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pull some of these other runes here. These runes are bloodstone runes. So bloodstone is a very good mineral. It's associated with cleansing and detoxifying of the body. So the first rune I get for Bigfoot 911, I got Nadis. Nadis being the rune of necessity. But I see you in the woods. This rune is telling me like you like to be in the woods, and that is your element. It's like you're good with that set of skill set. Going in the woods and experiencing the woods and living there, being prepared there, staying there, and it's not a negative connotation here. It's usually this is what presents two sticks rubbing together, right, to start a fire. And I feel like you're comfortable in the woods and that you know what you're doing. And that's what that rune is acknowledging. So the next rune I got is Wunyo. So Wunyo is joy, fresh start, new beginnings. This rune is saying to me, is like showing me in the woods. And when you're in the woods, it's like you clear your mind, you take a deep breath, and you have this new perspective, and you come back with a fresh start. And it, because of the experience of being out there in the woods and being in nature, it help clears your mind and help brings a bigger picture to your mind of what the true picture is for you. And you actually have a fresh start from that. You go from that, you come home and you're like, well, now I know what I need to do, and I know now what I'm grateful for. Okay. Next rune I got is Sowilo. Sowilo is the rune of success. This is also a sudden change, a sudden realization, like an epiphany of some kind, inspiration, lightning, sunlight. And again, keep getting inspiration, and like you're inspired to take your life in a completely different direction once you have this experience in the woods.
Interesting. Interesting. Next up is Crafty. Crafty says, I'm having an issue with my right leg. Any ideas?
Okay. Right leg issue. I'm not a doctor or anything, but let's see what the runes have to say. Okay. We have Sowilo. And this is realization. So this rune is telling me that you realize something isn't right. It's not right. The next rune I got is Iwas. Iwas is journey or travel. And it feels like I'm getting the impression from the runes that you might end up seeing a specialist for, when you go and see somebody there. It sounds like they're going to refer you to a specialist of some kind, that you might need special help, or maybe something there that you need a specialist for that's going on. The next rune I got is Isa, which means pause. It could also be delay, but I get the impression like you're going to be on rest. So it feels like you see a medical professional and they spot something that you need a specialist to help you in, and then they send you to one. So you end up taking a journey to the specialist to help you, and it feels like they either do some procedure, either a minor surgery, something of that issue, and then they send you home to be rest, like off your leg rest.
Interesting. That's for sure. Chris has a follow-up.
Pause.
It's just a warning directly for me, or this could be for a friend of mine I call brother.
Okay. And this is the warning you received when you had the clock stop.
Right.
Okay. For you or your brother? Let's check with the runes. You have yes and no's in the runes. Okay. So this is a land goose. So land goose is a yes.
A yes for.
Yes for the brother. That it's his brother, or the one that he calls brother.
Okay.
That warning is meant for. And the next rune I'm getting, also this one I got Kenya. So there is spirit trying to come through and talk through, and you need to pay attention to your intuition, because I'm being told that you have that your intuitive ability, you may not have had one in the past, but it's being developed. It's just so the spirit can reach out to you, and so you can be that messenger.
Okay. He says, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Yeah, me too. I like being in the woods. Wendell says do like being in the woods, especially with friends. Me too. I like being in the woods. I also like just sitting out there in the stand by myself and just listen to the birds and watch the squirrels and
Right. Isn't that the trees? Well, that's it. You're all caught up. Anybody else have
fantastic.
any more questions? Interesting.
Now, I do have, besides the Old Polding Jail, I was invited to the Viking Festival. It's coming up near Cleveland at the Geauga Fairgrounds, and I'm really looking forward to that because it's people are going to be dressed up as Vikings. It's Viking theme. I'll get to do runes because the runes were actually Nordic and all Germanic. I mean, all the Germanic peoples used them, but they're most famous around the Nordics, particularly associated with the Vikings and the Swedes, Swedish Vikings. You see a
That's
lot of
pretty cool.
runes. Yeah, uncovered there. So it's all drapery, and they have certain dress code that when you go there. And my dressing up, little sister was a well. I'm kind of going like halfway point. I found some smocks that look like medieval dresses. How the medieval dresses when they had they had a kind of a long, simple um, dress that had pockets on them. Well, the medieval dresses had that, and I have found smocks that look just like that. So I ordered some of those, and then they got a little crown, a little Viking crown, with a little sword and a little jewel in the middle, a little tiara thing. Wear
Oh,
that. I
that's
was looking at some medieval blouses, but I don't want to get paint on them, so I don't want to order anything pricey. So I want to look something that's close but not pricey, because it's going to come home with paint on it.
right. That is awesome. Yeah, it really is.
And you can also use runes. I've been using runes a little bit more and incorporating into using the energy into um, what my goals were. So what I've been doing is I've asked the runes, okay, what is the best rune for this goal? And one of them is lucid dreaming. So, and having vivid dreams and vivid communication and improving my communication in my dreams. So the rune I drew was Kenyos. And that's the rune that kind of looks like a plus, a sign that looks like a less sign or a plus, an arrow pointing direction. That one I spread in the candle, and I got a neat little tea candle, got a nice little safe holder, and I set it in there, lit the candle, carved the rune into the candle, lit that, and went to sleep and had such amazing, lucid, and very vivid dreams. One of which my deceased uncle, who was deceased about in 2 or 3 years, who's been trying to came through. He first came through for the friend of mine. She described him perfectly physically what he looked like. And he came through with one sentence on my spirit box saying, "I am your uncle." And then finally he came through in my dreams. And he was just an amazing guy. And I mean, he still is. He's just without a body. Very friendly, always helpful. He would help the neighborhood kids fix their bikes, and he'd like to go off-roading, and he was the best cook, and he would volunteer to cook for the volunteers that would clean up the cemetery. He'd volunteer to cook. So if there was any type of charity event or something and he was cooking ribs, that charity event would just go off the rails and be so successful because they knew he was cooking, because he's such an amazing cook. But he did come to me and with a message, because he was handing me all these. He says, "Look, I found all these T-shirts," and he was handing me to me, and they all had little. If you remember, there used to be a trend to have like puffy cartoons, puffy paint on your shirt, puffy things. There were all these cute little animals, and he was handing me these shirts to me. And then these were like these were the cartoon versions of the spirit animals that are around me, and he was presenting them. So he's aware of them, and he just wanted to make that contact with me, and we were talking just like if he was alive, and it was great to have that conversation with him. But certainly, cool. You're welcome to do the same thing. I mean, you could ask Kenyas, or you can write it down before bed. It's a very simple symbol. You can say the Kenyas Gelder song and ask for help with your dreams and communication, because Kenyas actually represent wisdom. And to have those vivid dreams, then you have to access your higher wisdom.
Makes sense.
And to get that. So I've done the same with my regular day job. I've asked what runes would be best to help me with my work today, and I know I scribed the runes into the candle, whichever runes came up, and then my workday goes really well. And you can use them for different things. I use them also just to help inspire me. So that's one way you could use runes. It's just another way. They're a lot of fun. I think since they're symbols, and they've been with us forever. It's easy to resonate with them, and you can just ask them, or you can just meditate on one rune at a time, and just see what that brings and what that does for you. Okay, and it says, is there any reason to assume a chiropractor could help without surgery? For something like that, and I'm not the one to ask about that, that would be something for maybe a bone doctor to answer, a medical professional, or maybe reaching out to a chiropractor and seeing what he has to say. Somebody may have to do x-rays and tests to see what's really going on, because if it's not bone related, if it's like a clot or something that you're going through, then it may require a different type of treatment altogether.
Right.
And then Chris is saying, I know I have dreams, possibly astral travel during sleep, but then typically end up never remembering them. So you're welcome for that. Yeah, you're welcome for the suggestion. You can simply write down, if all you remember is a feeling, then write the feeling out. Or if you just remember a color, write that out. I tend to remember, because there are other techniques that you can use. For example, like if you use Kenyas and you see it in a dream, right? Then that's a clue. Hey, I'm dreaming. I'm seeing the symbol appear in my dream. When I have runes appear in my dream, I remember my dreams very vividly.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So watch for symbols in your dreams, and watch for the symbols, like ancient symbols. The runes are are very good drawn, because they're so ancient. If you prefer to draw on some other symbols, but the runes are simple, so they're going to be easy to spot. I've seen them in stone, and some people have tarot cards in their dreams. Right? They'll focus, if tarot's their thing, they may have tarot cards come out in the dream, and they'll remember the dream and the messages and the cards that come up because tarot came up in the dream, and that's what they kind of gravitate to, those types of images. Again, I like runes because it's simple, they're powerful, and they're ancient.
Yeah. Hello, Nelda. Welcome to the show. Yeah, it is.
I have a paranormal experience I have to tell you about. I was at the Anchorage Mansion. I was doing portraits there, psychic portraits over there. And while I was at the Anchorage Mansion in Indy and Marietta, Ohio, we were all in a gift shop area, and we had the door open because it was hot that day, and we wanted to let some fresh air come in. I was done for the day, and we were just standing around chatting. And the three of us hear footsteps come up the porch steps, come right up to the front door, right where it was open, and just stop. But there was nobody making the steps. And I got really interested in this, so I step outside. I'm like, this is interesting. I got to take a look here. So I stepped outside, and all of a sudden those steps started running. So whoever it was started running, and they started running straight down the driveway. And what I saw, I just kept looking towards the footsteps. I saw somebody that appeared with a long shirt on, like they're wearing a long light blue shirt, but the head was just black. There was no features on the head, and no legs, no lower body, and it just went into the ground.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a feeling that something was trying to get permission to gain entry, and whoever was dark and took off like, oh, heck no, when they saw me step out and face them, like, oh no, I'm not doing this. Take off. But that was intriguing. And that building is always a renovation in progress. But they just had finished the grand staircase. And it's just been polyurethane. All the woodwork's been done for it. It's just a matter, they just have to add the railing on the opposite side for the staircase. And it's a beautiful, beautiful Italian villa style mansion.
Wow. Unbelievable. That's interesting.
So yeah, you can use the runes for spirit communication. So if you want to amplify your intuition or spirit application, you can ask the runes which ones would be best. There are runes that seem to gravitate better than that. For me, a lot of times that is um, I was. So I was is communication, but it's death and regeneration. And you can certainly scribe that and just ask for open communication. Ansus is another one. Ansus kind of looks like an F with the arms pointing down. That one represents wisdom and communication, particularly speaking it. And if you're interested in healing your body or focusing on healing for yourself, you can use Urus, which represents strength. And you could draw on that and just ask for help with the healing with your own body's ability to heal.
Interesting. Well, any last words, Angela?
Now, Chris had a question. He says, "You always help us. Are you able to channel for yourself? Are there times when you can use reading from someone else for yourself? Just curious." And there are times I do go for readings if I feel prompted to by my guides because I may need to hear something that I may not be receptive to. And my guides want to just hit me in the face with it. And they direct me to a specific person and they will lay it out for me. And I get confirmation. It's confirmation for me what my guides are telling me. But it also helps me realize, sometimes I need to go to the person because how spirit works is sometimes we're not all about me or trusting my own senses. Sometimes they want me to send me somebody else because they have a message that needs to come forth to me in a very specific way.
Right.
As far as channeling for myself, I mean, I have done automatic writing, but very rarely. Most of the time I use dreams and I listen. And I will listen in my own environment. I will hear spirits talking out loud, or as I'm shortly going to sleep, I will hear them talking out loud, and I see apparitions. So it doesn't take much for them to communicate strongly with me.
Yeah, that's true. That's awesome. Well, what a wonderful show, Angela. It's been great.
It's been a great show.
Yeah, it always goes by so quick.
It does. It feels like it goes on too fast. It just
It does.
feels like we always need more time.
Well, I hope everybody checks out that new Facebook group. And from coast to coast around the world, everybody, Godspeed. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.